y'all gonna let me have my fun. I don't even care, yo. All right, let's get this started,
like,
yo.
what?
See, this is
Zoom
why.
just talked to me and said something. I was like, wait a minute, what?
Oh yeah, that's the new version. They let
Right.
you know when they setting you up.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Got you.
But also, this is why we all need to hang out more.
Um. Yeah. We make it work.
I live
If
in Wakanda.
I know, see that's the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. Community Coalition Show. We back in this thing. Y'all know what it is. K Wilson, David 2K, and we have a third.
Yes, we do.
I think my prayers have been answered. I think.
I know
Because
mine have.
it's been time. I've been trying to think of trying to get a strong, beautiful black queen.
That's
Absolutely.
you got it. You got the memo.
See, I got the memo. I read that right. I read that. I got a good read. All right.
There you go.
Absolutely.
My check in the mail, right? All right.
I got you.
well, we got Yendi to join us. We're gonna see how this works. If she act right, we might keep her.
Wow.
See how I flip that? I go right back to I ain't shit. But what's going on?
What's good, y'all? Gang.
She's not new. She's been around. She know what time it is.
Yeah,
we're gonna have some fun because we got some stuff to talk about. So first, let's get that out. Community Coalition Show is brought to you by the Black Squirrel Media Network. Check out all the pods, the shows, and all that stuff. And even have the Black on Film podcast coming back later this month, which three of us are also a part of. Yeah,
Ton of Black Squirrel.
Yep. So check that out. Check us out, blacksquirrelmedia.com. Had to get out the way. Get that out the way first. Now, let's get to business, though. It's a lot. So, Yendi, you sent me that old clip, right?
Yeah, it's been on all of
the whole
Instagram.
episode, man.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, why don't you explain? I'll try to run through it. So, he said it's been going over the India. So, you sent it to me. I hadn't seen it before you sent it. So, it's an old episode of the Phil Donahue Show. For those who don't know, if y'all too young, Phil Donahue was a talk show back late 80s, early 90s. To give people a better perspective, if y'all don't know, it was like he was really like the male Oprah. He was a white dude, but it was like that same stratosphere, that same kind of like talk show space that was big back in the day.
Right. I don't think there are a lot of kids nowadays that I don't think that they know that Oprah was a talk show host.
Exactly. So
Donahue used to come on, like, remember when you be at your grandma's house when you stay home sick?
Yep.
And you watching Donahue.
And Donahue.
Yep. So those guys.
I used to watch Maury,
but yeah, this was like, so if you think about it, like Donahue was kind of like one of the early ones.
Mm-hmm.
I think Donahue was still before Oprah, but they had that kind of same space, or it was like a daily kind of like talk show, bring guests on, big audience participation, talk about certain topics, right? And it kind of morphed into some of the stuff we started seeing later with like this Jerry Springer's, where it was just like craziness. But like Donahue and them, they had serious talks back in the day. And so you said this video apparently has been going around. This was a old episode from 1990. And to start off even the title of it was, hold on, let me get the exact title, because I was just reading like the credits and stuff. So it pretty much, it's mulattoes. What's it called? Mulattoes
who pass for white.
Yes. And so this whole episode, it was a panel of Black people who are very light-skinned, pass for white. A lot of their upbringings, they were talking about their parents claiming that they were white and saying that they were white and wanted them to pass as white and all those things. But I guess later on in life, they wanted to identify as Black, and they are currently identifying as Black. And so this whole episode was that conversation of their journey, but also a lot of crowd participation, call-ins, and it kind of expanded out that to like a lot of the racial stuff, race relations back and forth, And it was just very interesting. Yendi, did I get all that correct?
You did. You did.
Okay. So that's where we are. So we watched it. The three of us watched it, right? Whew, Lord, I was blown away.
Yeah.
What were y'all initial thoughts?
Can I first just say who made me mad, first of all, was the chick in the green sweater who was talking about how she was commenting on how one of the panelists said that white people in America get their image of Black people from what they see on TV and what they watch on movies. So Karen, because that's what we're going to call her, decided to get up and say, well, I'm not a racist. And and she was like, neither is anybody in this audience, I'm sure. But where do Black people get their image of white people on TV from what you see on TV? Like, no, we get it from what we experience in America. Sit down, sis. If she had Black friends, that was the day they should have punched her in the nose. Because I promise you, she made me very mad.
Yeah.
She definitely doesn't have any Black friends.
And so for those, if you haven't watched this, and I encourage everyone to watch it, I'll link it and everything. Like, I think this is something that everyone needs to watch, especially now. That's what this show ended up being. Mm-hmm. We had a panel of Black people. They're talking about their experiences, what it was like growing up white in their families and everything, like going along with that. Some of them were talking about like how their family pretty much tell them you have to be white for your safety. Like if you say you're Black, they're going like, so they were scaring as kids. Mm-hmm. They were doing this to them. So the panel is the whole goal of the panel, and all of them kept saying, we're pretty much just, we're having this conversation. We want this stuff to end, and the audience clearly was not getting that or did not care.
Yeah. I feel like
they didn't care.
Yeah. I feel like with them, they were like, nah, just stay where you are.
Yep.
Just, Yeah.
And so this was the first couple of things. Like, I wrote some stuff down. I was like, this is nothing has changed. No. This was 1990. And here we are, 2021, almost 2022. Mm-hmm. We're having the same conversation. This is the same stuff that's still happening. Nothing has changed. And so it was frustrating for me to listen to this because, again, this is what you got: a Black panel, an audience that is predominantly white.
Right.
And you could tell they did not care to acknowledge the problem. There was one clear problem. Right. All the panelists kept talking about it. Even Phil Donahue, even in his attempts to still try to steer it back to that problem.
Right. Mm-hmm. He was doing a good job of trying to like stay on topic, but like, especially with all of the audience members asking their questions, like they clearly weren't trying to solve the problem.
No. And I do love the way the panelists did handle the audience, especially when they were talking about Black people being racist, and the gentleman was like, Black people can't be racist, and then went to go into the explanation on why. Like, I just thought everybody handled themselves. But you want to know who was hurt out of everyone was the chick who looked like, I swear she's like a Halle Berry, the lady in the blue with the short hair.
But so it was just like, but that is one of the biggest issues we have today. And I've said this before on the show. We keep going back to the same people who oppress us. Mm-hmm. And we tell them what's good. Mm-hmm. We tell them what's up. And they don't care. Like, all right, whatever, we're going to keep doing what we're doing. Right. And then we mad. We get frustrated. It is frustrating. It's hard as hell. It's the worst. But
it is.
They are not going to acknowledge for things to change. They would first have to acknowledge that something wrong happened. That something wrong is continuing to happen.
Right.
They haven't done that yet.
Right. They won't even let critical race theory be taught in school.
Well, because
they are actively trying to stop teaching in schools slavery and Jim Crow and like that whole era.
I feel like they believe if they don't talk about racism, then it's like it never happened. Because I have a lot of white friends who they say, "Oh, I never saw color." First of all, I want you to see me as a beautiful Black queen that I am. Thanks. I appreciate it. But also by the fact that you're just saying, I don't see color, we're all equal. But that's not the world that we live in. And even though your white friends, they may say, oh, racism is not real, but there are racists out here who have grandchildren and they're raising their grandchildren to be racist. So you can't say racism is not existing. You have to acknowledge that there was a problem, there still is a problem, and now we can fix what the problem is. But first we need to admit there's a problem. It's just like a druggie. You can't say, if you're not going to admit you have a drug problem, you're never going to get better.
Right. Like, it's so crazy. I think there was one thing that Trevor Noah, there was an episode of The Daily Show with Trevor Noah where he interviewed Tammy, and she said, "Oh, I don't see color, Trevor." And he said the funniest thing, but also it's true. So what do you do at a stoplight? And it's very telling because that's super important, because if you don't know the colors, then you're gonna crash. What are you gonna do when you don't see color? And
I don't buy any of that. I don't buy any of that. I think that's a deflection tactic.
Absolutely.
You see color, the color you see is white. That's what you see. That's what you care about. See, you see it. But my thing is, again, we're talking about like, because we ask, why does this happen? Why do we do this? And again, I always go back to, we know why.
We know exactly why.
They don't want things to change.
Because if things start to change, then
they lose.
They know, oh, our free ride is over.
Well, not even free ride. They lose their place at the top of the totem pole.
Right.
The power starts to diminish. And that's what their whole culture is based on.
Right.
Their whole culture is based on it since the beginning of their culture. That's what they do. They, like I said before, they're bored. They assimilate. So they don't want to. That's why critical race theory won't get taught. That's why they're trying to take those things out. Because if they still continue to teach those things, the questions begin to start getting asked again.
Right.
Not even just from us, but from the kids, their kids. Yeah. Hey, why are we doing this? What is going on? If you have people thinking, people are going to start asking questions. And they're going to want some answers. So not even just for us, but for their generations growing up.
Right.
So they don't want anyone to know. So that's what happened. What do oppressors do?
Continue to oppress.
Yeah. And how do they do that? They limit knowledge. Look at every,
because they know knowledge is power.
Yep. Look what every oppressive government in the world does. What do? They censor education. They censor media. They limit access to those things. You can't get to it. Why? Because we're going to tell you what you're supposed to know.
Right.
That's what they do.
That's it.
No, we can't have critical. We can't have them thinking about that. We can't have them talking about that. No. So this is no different than, it's no different than what dictatorship countries do. Look at North Korea. It's what they do. It's on the same lines of that. We're gonna limit the access to what people have.
Right.
Well, now what are we doing in this country? We're doing the same thing. We can't flat out dictate and threaten to kill people and put them in labor camps. So we threaten the teachers. Hey, y'all want to start teaching us? We're gonna take your license. We're gonna take your job. So it's just the democratic way of threatening them. That's all. So here we are. But they're not going to admit to this stuff. So I don't know. I don't know, Black people. I think we should stop holding on and hanging on to that hope.
Right. You can see it in the audience. And I'm like, Even though this was the 90s, it's still like that today. But you can see it in the audience when that one chick made the comment about college, and she was like, "Oh, well, Black people have an advantage because, the colleges have to let in a certain amount of people." And then the other lady was comparing like being Jewish to, and I'm just like, that has nothing to do with it. And then another thing that I think was a good point, because my mom used to always say this to us all the time, is that whenever they always try to rope in all minorities together. And you saw that because the lady was like, well, there's Hispanics in the Black community. And they were like, listen, white is right, brown stick around, Black get back. And that's true, because white people will always accept Indians and Hispanics and even Koreans and Chinese and all of them before they will accept Black people.
Right. Yeah, and I'm gonna say this, and I don't care. Like, because they'll traditionally work with them.
Yeah.
They didn't. I mean, okay, let's like we're gonna keep it a buck. Like, let's look at history. I mean, no, I'm gonna shut up. Because I was gonna say something.
Say it.
No, I can't say that. But what I will say is, well, when you have a people that maybe don't fight back as much, don't push back as much on things, and I'm not talking about one particular group over another, but when it's a lot easier to oppress a group of people, and they don't fight back, you kind of get in bed. Y'all start working together. Right. Like, some people will put up with it. Black people are not.
Yeah, we're not here. As we say, we're not here for play.
Yeah, because but yeah. It okay. It is frustrating. It is. And we have our own culture, and we value our culture, and we're fighting for our culture in our lives here,
Right. And the sad thing is that every time, like, we very much embrace our culture. And the sad thing about it is that once we start, I'll be real, once we start really loving ourselves, and we're really minding, it literally goes back to, we're minding our own business. We're starting to looking at today, we're starting to love ourselves more. We're starting to see our value more, and we're starting to honestly, we're starting to ownership is coming back.
Yeah. Well, okay. So the more I think about this. How many other races? There were slaves all over the world, right?
Absolutely.
How many other groups of people were forcefully removed from their home and forcefully placed in a whole nother country and helped build another country? So when you're talking about Black people in America, that's the start of us here.
Right.
That is the start of us here. They didn't come and just invade our land and put up a new government in Africa and did all that. No, they took us and put us somewhere else.
Right. Massacre.
Yeah. So when we're talking about here in America and it comes to Black, that's the root of this. So yes, okay, so we could talk about Hispanics, things like that. We talk about India, we could talk about other groups of people. They ain't have to go through that part. Right. Not in mass. They ain't had to go through that. And once it was done and over, they're still fighting to treat us the same way. Yeah.
And
so
that ain't
so it's not like India where they invaded, they took over India, they held India down for a long time, and then they fought for their independence, and you know what? British said, okay, all right, we out, y'all got it, peace, go ahead. And they left.
Yeah, that didn't happen after.
They ain't happened there. So when people so you can't group minorities together. If you're gonna have individual conversation, to have individual conversations. But don't lump us together. All our situations are different.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of people who chose to come to this country.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't. You know, and after we got our independence, they didn't just say, all right, y'all cool now, y'all straight, my bad, y'all. All right, we good now.
Nah, that was Jim Crow. There was slavery. There was...
And every policy and practice still put in place today.
Right.
From voting to redlining, everything put in place, how we're treated, the laws, our legal system. Mm-hmm. So it's not like it ended and they were like, all right, we done, y'all, my bad. No, it's still going on. We ain't even getting my bad. We ain't even getting my bad. We ain't even get that part.
Yes, they said we gave y'all Juneteenth. So there. Cannot be happy. That's what they said.
They said they gave us Obama, and that should be the end of it.
Exactly my point. Oppressors dictating what's good for us. Right. They're gonna tell us what's good for us. Right. And so all that to say, this is what showed. All of that showed in this one show.
Absolutely.
We got all that. The audience, that's what they were saying. Pretty much, why y'all still mad? Mm-hmm. Can't you go? Then can't you? It's a lot easier for you to go to school. We got we got like affirmative action, yo.
Square up.
So pretty much like all that little but that also showed they are like literal white privilege mindset.
Right.
Yeah, that audience definitely.
Right.
That statement, even that school statement, it's a lot easier for you to go to school. No, it isn't. Like she said, and I think her response was good. Mm-hmm. It looks easier, but like, okay, when 99% of y'all get to go to school for free, and they give us one little piece. Right. But all you see is you mad at that piece. You don't even see the 99% of y'all that dominate this.
Right.
Or whatever the number is now, but I'm just saying, whatever. But that to me, that also goes back to like, why y'all so focused on us?
Right.
Yeah, and that's what they said. Why are y'all so mad? Like we done nothing to you. Well, my mom always says they fear us because they know that we are better. Mm. But we have to know that we are better.
Yeah. Right. And even when we do realize we're better, there's this conversation we still got to push through and fight through.
Absolutely.
You know, one other thing I thought was very, very telling is when Donahue went over the list of white privileges. So I guess they did like a panel and they went over what people felt like were the main white privileges in this country. Mm. And this is in 1990. So I wrote them down. I took notes, I wrote them down.
Oh, I screenshot them. Look at that.
Yeah, see, because I thought it was crazy that like, as he's reading them, I'm like, wait, it's still the same shit.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go over. I want to share.
Let's do it.
And I paraphrased a couple of them because, to break it down. But pretty much the first white privilege, I can live where I want to live. Mm. Goes back to housing. Goes back to redlining, all those laws against us, right?
Right.
That's a privilege.
Not only that, gentrification also.
Yeah. I can live where I want to live. Think about a black person. I can't. There's certain neighborhoods that I can't go to. Right. I don't care how much money I have. I mean, I could if I had the money.
Right. But also within that, there, like you even said, like in your own neighborhood.
My own neighborhood.
Listen.
You were doing
that's what I'm saying. So think about when you can go anywhere and not even have to, like, you have the right to be, nobody will question you living there.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Like even in my neighborhood. Yeah. Now go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, my bad. Go ahead.
I was just saying, think about even in my own neighborhood, I've been here 10 years. Matter of fact, I'm coming in the house. Some lady that don't even live on my street, walking her dogs on my street, looking at me sideways.
Like, go on, ma'am.
I live in this cul-de-sac. You don't live over here. What you doing? So she looking at me and I'm looking at her like, your dog better not shit on my lawn.
I was going to say, out here, and everybody knows about this, but not in Allentown, but like in the Poconos and Tobiana, whenever Black people moved to Tobiana, they all put them in this one housing development. That's where all the Black people live. Like, you can't live nowhere else in Tobiana. They only show you houses in this one development, and it's wild.
That's part of redlining.
Mm-hmm.
That's part of that system. Think about it. Now that means the realtors are all in cahoots. They all on the same page. They in on the gig too. See, and that's what I'm saying. So that's a big privilege. I can live where I want and not have to worry about anything like that.
Right. But even within that, like imagine we all live in the same, we live in the same neighborhood, and we're like we all start helping each other, and we're actually doing well. We have our own stores, and then they'll come in and be like, oh nah, this isn't what we expected y'all to do. This isn't what was supposed to happen.
Or they'll bomb it and massacre everyone in it.
Exactly.
Tulsa. So, yeah.
I wish we could get back to that when you had like towns and a lot of Black businesses in the towns. I wish we did have that.
They designed it. The laws are designed so that we can't.
Right.
That's how crazy it is. So yeah, they were just. I was just hearing a story. What was that? Like, was that early today? Oh yeah, where John Carpenter, famous filmer, grew up in Kentucky, small town in Kentucky. They said when civil rights started, and they were the federal government changed the bus law, so now the buses weren't segregated anymore. So Black people could ride the buses. Everything was cool. This town was so racist. You know what they did? They shut the whole buses down. They shut the whole bus system down. Stuff like that happens. So rather than just let people ride the bus, no, nobody rides the bus. That's how much we hate y'all.
If I can't have it,
so yeah,
nobody can.
Systems crazy. So when you control, dictate laws, this is what happens. So that was the first one. We got more. The second one is when you're told about civilization or your national heritage, right? You're only shown white people, or you automatically assume that it's people that look like you. So I said, think about that. Think about when milestones and stuff happen in history. When you talk about history, talk about everything in the world, you talk about religion. Who's the first face you come to? White Jesus.
Yep.
When you're told about, like I said, national race, all the historical figures, the presidents ever before Obama, who you look to, you automatically assume they were white.
Yep.
Think about how far we have to go out our way to highlight Black people here. And the only time it's done is February.
And it's crazy because the schools, they focus so much. Even people probably come for me if they listen to this, but even when I was in high school, we had Black history, but they focus so much on slavery. It's like there's more to it than just slavery.
Right. Yep. You got slavery.
I had to learn everything from my parents.
Yeah, because if not slavery, you got Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Rosa Parks, maybe Harriet Tubman. You got it was like the top 10.
Yeah.
And you got that little song, "Keep Your Eyes on the Prize." Oh Lord, you ain't never hear that Negro spiritual documentary? They kick that us every year.
I know that one. I know
when them Ken Burns joints. Now I'm talking about the documentary. We ain't getting the every voice and sing in school. They ain't give us that in school.
That's true.
I did. I had it. And some kid was like, "Why I gotta stand for the Black national anthem?" It was horrible because it was a teacher's son, and she was so embarrassed.
See, it comes out. That's to say, it oozes out. It just oozes out when they just don't agree with it, right?
Right.
Okay.
I didn't even learn that in school, to be honest.
Exactly. I ain't nobody tell So we got to college and so a couple people with the HBCUs.
Right.
Like, yeah.
No, I learned that in church, and that's crazy because I lived in like where I grew up. I lived in a very diverse area, but it was our church. It was our children's choir director that taught us that song, and She was a black woman from the South.
Exactly. Had to be. When nobody else gonna teach you that.
Right.
Oh man. Okay, the next one. My skin color will not work against me in regards to appearance of financial stability. Pretty much meaning when you're white, you assume everything is good financially. Examples of that meaning, if I walked into an expensive restaurant, they may not assume that I'm supposed to be there. When I go to get a loan or I go to a bank, they assume that I can't afford or I need help or I need a loan or something like that, right?
Right.
But when you think about white people, you don't ever think about that stuff with white people.
No.
Like,
I just experienced that
yeah,
during the pandemic. They didn't want to give me a car because they didn't think I had the money to put down. It was horrible. And one of the people was Spanish. He is the one who told, and I'll never forget, like it was yesterday. He told the manager that I came in there saying I was going to drop down a large amount of money, and he was like, "She doesn't even have it." I wanted to drive my car through that window. I was so mad. It was horrible. I didn't like being treated that way.
yeah, they automatically assume you don't have it. We see that at smaller levels.
Right.
I was telling a story like years ago on this pod. I can go in the same place with regular clothes on, and they look at me, they follow me around the store. I can go to that same store the next day with a suit on, and they automatically assume I'm somebody important.
Right.
White people don't have to do that. I've seen white people go in the same place with some Jesus sandals on, some cut up shorts, and they get the red carpet rolled out for them because they're automatically white.
Yep.
I have to completely change my appearance to get respect. That is crazy.
Tell you it's not true.
But I'll tell you it's not true.
That's not how it is.
I can damn near give you examples on a daily basis.
Yeah.
The daily basis. Or, I mean, I think there's another one. Okay, so that's one. Yeah, we'll get there. I do not have to educate my children on systemic racism for their own protection.
Mm.
Meaning, I gotta tell my kids what's up for their own safety.
Right.
I gotta tell my kids how to move and navigate around this world. I gotta teach them about racism. They don't have to do that.
Right.
No. That's what I tell my friends all the time. Like, y'all don't have to talk to your kids about this. Because my friend, during the whole George Floyd thing, my friend was like, I'm fearful for my son. And I'm like, why? He's white. Nobody's going to do anything to him.
Yeah.
She was like, because it's just so crazy right now. Girl, bye.
Police don't sit on your necks. Shut up.
Right.
Like, you don't know, we literally, like, I have to have this conversation with my daughters.
Right.
I have to. And it come in bits and pieces. Why is it that, okay, for example, I'm talking about like education. My daughters have a book of important Black women in history. And it was one of our things at bed every night. We would read a page from that book talking about a new person in history. And we had to, to give them examples of strong Black women.
Right.
No white family has a book of strong white women in history.
Right.
Why? Because they live it every day.
Right. Turn on the TV.
Mm-hmm.
Go to school. No one has that book. They don't have to have that book. They don't have to educate their children on this. I had to have the slavery talk with my children. What is slavery? You know how hard it is to have to a 6-year-old?
Oh, you want to know the hardest one is about the skin color. People may not like you because of the color of your skin.
Yes, I have had the light skin, all that skin stuff. I had that conversation. Why do they do that, Daddy?
I don't know.
That is, yeah. They don't have that conversation.
Right.
White families and white kids are in history. Did we really control 80% of the world? Did we control 80% of the world? Like, they don't have that conversation.
Really just walk into a place without getting followed?
Yeah.
Can I buy anything I want? Can I maybe even steal and nobody check me for it?
Can I, you know what? Hey, when I turn into an adult, I don't have to have my driver's license on me at all times. Think about that for them. I better not leave this house without my driver's license.
Right.
Whether I'm driving or not. I better have ID on me. Little stuff like that. You know?
Or you don't have to worry about walking down the street with someone down the dark road and being worried about somebody attacking you just because you're Black and saying, hey, we hate niggers.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm pretty sure white families don't have their heads on a swivel all times.
Right.
Or they don't have to worry about, I can't go in that store because they're going to look at me sideways. I can't go in that convenience store because they're going to follow me. They don't, yeah. Okay. What's the next one? I can do well in challenging situations without being called a credit to my race. Meaning, if I'm doing well, I'm not the outlier.
Right.
Examples.
Because I feel like we've all heard, oh, you're one of the good ones.
Oh, you, what is it?
You're different.
You're different.
Yeah.
Or they're amazed by what you do and how smart you are and how proper you speak.
You're so well spoken.
Well spoken. You're real nice. You know.
I used to work with this girl that was her parents were racist, and that's what they said. Oh, they were like, oh, you could bring her around because she's different than the other Blacks that we deal with.
Yeah. Or just tell somebody you have a job and they look at you like applause, congratulations. Tell somebody what you do in this world and it's like an astonishment. No, this is what we do. This is every day.
Right.
Like, you don't have to take the whole brunt of your entire race on your shoulders with some of these things. I think that's the next one. Yeah. I am never asked to speak for all the people in my racial group. Think about how many times we've had that conversation where we had to defend all Black people.
That they mentioned that too on the panel.
Yeah. Like my conversation, now I got it, like I've been in that, yeah. I've had jobs where I had to I was on probation for all Black people.
Right.
If I didn't do well, they ain't never going to let another Black person in this door.
Right.
No, Black people had to go through that.
I feel bad because there was one time where me and Dots, we went to a restaurant and we ate, and then he put down a large tip, and he was like, that's for the race. He said that's for the race.
Yeah. You have to do that.
Because we have to do that, or else they're gonna look at us
sideways. Or I tell you what,
I always say Black people don't tip.
Yeah, Black people don't tip, all that stuff. Or even calling to our character, like I said, in question all times. I think I told you the story, David. I tell everybody, okay. You know me, what I do, I help people. I'm trained for it. I train other people to do it. Right. So one day, and this has happened multiple times, when we're leaving the grocery store, lady is damn near passed out on the curb. Older white lady, passed out on the curb. So me being me, I go to help her. Right. But you got to ask first, So, excuse me, man, you need help. Can I help you? Right. You know what she told me? No, I don't want your nigger help.
Oh no, that's.
Yeah, I remember us having that conversation.
Yeah, so this lady looked like she needs medical attention. So, all right, I'll call 911. So, that's the right thing to do. Okay. I could have just walked away, but, I'm a human being. But again, just the fact that, I can't even help you in times of medical emergency because I'm Black.
That's how the nurses are in the doctors. Like you even see them and talk about it on TikTok, where people be like, "I don't want your help. I don't want. Can I have a white doctor?"
Yeah.
But they still have to save their lives and stuff like that because they take that oath.
Well, it's not even the oath too. I mean, yes, the oath, but I think about again when it's time for me to meet my God. For me, I need him to tell me well done. So that situation, like I said, if she would rather die than receive help from a black person,
right?
You gonna tell me racism doesn't run deep?
Right. Oh, Kenny, I even told you about that one time I was on the bus and this lady, she almost fell. I caught her, and once I caught her, she looked at me. She gave me the dirtiest look.
Yeah.
And like I immediately regretted catching her.
Well, yeah. So you rather bust your head open than get saved by a black person, yo. So again, we gotta carry that stuff. Wow. It's another one. Okay, a couple more left. I can arrange to protect my children from people that may not like them. Meaning, if they need protection, I can protect them. I.e., police. I.e., any type of social service. Any type of entity that is in place to protect them. If they don't feel safe for whatever reason, they can make that happen.
Get a gun.
What do schools always say? Or what's the biggest lie that you hear in school?
Your kids are safe at school?
Bullying will not be tolerated.
Yeah, just as
definitely a lie.
As our guy from last week.
Lie.
We just went through that whole story with the kid in Texas last week.
Yep.
His family went through all the proper channels. He did everything they were supposed to do. School did nothing.
Did you hear about the kid in I can't remember if it was, I think it was Minnesota, young 12-year-old boy. I saw this on TikTok. It was the girl's brother. Apparently he was being bullied in school. His mom has been up to the school several times to talk about the issue with the kid and the guy he was having issues with. The kid was at his house with his sisters outside. The kid who was bullying him came up to his house to fight him, but he didn't know the kid had set him up. And so the kid who was being bullied got into a fight with this kid. His mom was on her way out to break up the fight. The kid who was the bully, who was I guess he was getting beat up by the kid he was bullying. He called his brother. He had brought his brother around who was in his 20s. Brother came and shot and killed the 12-year-old boy.
Yes.
I was just like, and he was really bragging about it on social media. Like, do you hear yourself?
That's right.
Really?
Yeah. And there's no protection.
Nope.
I mean, okay. I've seen it. I've seen this as someone who worked in the school. The little white kid said they're getting bullied. Yo, cops is up that joint ASAP. Right. ASAP. Everybody getting sent home. That is a real thing. Yeah. What's the next one? I have little fear about ignoring the perspectives and powers of the of people of other races. Little fear about
which I feel like sums up to I don't have to listen to you.
I don't have to listen to you. Yeah.
I don't have to respect your opinion.
Yeah. I don't give a damn about your opinion. I don't give a damn about what you say. Yeah. That's an easy one. I don't give a shit about what you say. And the last one, I don't have to worry about racism without being seen as self-interested or self-seeking. Meaning, and I took this as like, we have to have the conversation about racism because it looks like it makes us look selfish or like we're seeking attention.
Right.
And every conversation we had, like even the panel, they were looking at the panel in the show like almost like, why are you here?
Mm-hmm.
Why do we have to have this conversation? Why are you here?
We don't have to bring race into everything.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I hate when people say that.
Yeah.
Like, why does it have to be about race?
Why does it have to be about race? That goes back to we don't see color. There's no color. If we just love everybody, we treat everybody the same. No, we don't bring it up. That's not a selfish thing. We're not trying. It's not like a look at me situation. This is what actually happens. But they flip it on us and make it seem like we're trying to draw attention or we wilding, like really looking at us like you doing the most. Like,
right.
This is crazy.
Also, I don't know. That kind of goes both ways because Black people do it too. They don't even want to admit that there's a problem. Not all Black people, just as some Black people, because I don't want nobody to come for me. But some Black people do feel like if we don't talk about it, and when other Black people do speak on it, they'll be like, oh, like, oh, I'm not like them, or we're angry.
Right.
We're bitter. And we always got to bring race into everything, and it's not about race, but it is about race. I have friends who don't even want to teach their kids about how jacked up this world could be because they feel like, oh, if we don't talk about it, it's going to go away. Like, how else are we going to end racism? But you have to talk about it. You cannot end something without saying there's a problem. And let's talk about the problem and how can we move forward from this situation.
Yeah, I think it comes down to like there's a lot of Black people who they don't want to ruffle feathers.
Right.
They don't want to make waves. I found that a lot of those people, they feel like they're in a good status place in their lives,
Mm-hmm.
They either probably got a good job, made a couple dollars, or they've kind of steered clear and they never probably had to really deal with it before.
Right. Or I think that like, sorry, I'm so sorry.
No, go ahead.
They're trying to keep the peace.
Well, that's and I think that's what I'm saying. I think it like fly under the radar.
Yeah.
Keep it, but that changes when something happens to them.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. It's almost like you can try to go about life safe, but at some point you have to deal with it.
Right.
And if you don't, they bring it to you. Well, so that's why it's not like Black people go around seeking, like, I'm seeking an incident today. I'm looking for racism today. You be minding your business and they bring it to you. So then those people are like, you getting comfortable, like you think you got a place. What happens then? So even for those Black people, like even some of the panels I'm talking about, like they grew up white and it was like, you could accept that and enjoy the privileges of being white. Mm-hmm. It was like, no, don't want to live like that.
Right.
Yeah, because they asked them, because they were saying that they came from half of their mom, either their mom is white or their dad is white or somebody in their bloodline is white. Mm-hmm. And so the one lady in the audience was like, do you ever like embrace your white side? And the fake Halle Berry was like, heck no.
Yeah, she did. She
because first of all, what is there to embrace from that?
That's what she said. I should be proud about having blonde hair and blue eyes because that's supposed to be beautiful. No.
No.
Yeah, they was. I appreciate them going in like that, but that's where we are. That's where we are. And as I said, I kept going back to like, yo, this was recorded. That episode was recorded in 1990.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just like, I know we know the same stuff, but it was just, I don't know the word to use it. I guess it was just a reminder.
Right. Nothing has changed.
Yeah. But to hear it, we talk about it, but to go back and get the evidence that nothing has changed. That's why I wrote down that list. I was like, look at those. That list was created in 90 of those white privileges. Mm-hmm. They all still exist today.
Absolutely.
Probably with some new ones too. So it's crazy. So that's why I think, and even just having this conversation with the three of us, trying to shed some more light to it. And I think that's why it was a good snapshot to have that Donahue episode. We need these reminders. We need to continue having these conversations.
The only part of that episode that they were really sharing on Instagram was when I cannot remember her name, but she wrote the book Color Struck. It was her clip when she was talking about Woolworths and being at the counter, and when the guy said that Black people can't be racist, and so a lot of people were reacting to that statement. That was the only clip, but then I wanted to watch the full episode because I was telling my mom about it and we were listening to it, and I was like, this is a really good episode, and I think that everybody should watch it. Black, white, Hispanic, anybody. I think everybody should watch the episode because it's pretty good. Because you know what, we don't talk about it because we don't want to make anybody, like you said, we don't want to ruffle feathers. We want to keep the peace. I know that whenever my mom and I used to have conversations, because our walls were thin, my mom used to be like, no one talks about because our neighbors is white, So it's like, because you don't want to make nobody uncomfortable. You can't have these discussions with your friends because they're just like, I don't see race. You're my friend, okay? I'm Black, you're white. We should have these discussions.
Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't be afraid to talk about it.
Yeah, and even if you don't, even if they say they don't see race, you need to be, if you're my friend, you should care about what happens to me.
Mm-hmm.
I need you to acknowledge what's going on.
Yeah. I have some friends. I have a really good friend of mine. And she's white, and we would sit and talk for hours. And she would ask questions. She's from the Midwest, she grew up different. Right. So she would ask, is this what's really happening? Is what's going on for real? And if you didn't know her, it would look like people assume, oh, you supposed to know. You didn't know that? You didn't know this is what happens? But I knew her, so I knew she generally didn't understand. Mm-hmm. So she's asking questions to understand. And so I would tell her, and she would it was days she would be in tears. Because she wanted to know, but when I told her, it was hard. Because for her, it was like, I can't fathom like that. I can't even think like that, that happens, and so that's why, I've always, and I tell her, I've always appreciated her for that. Mm-hmm. And she'll acknowledge, she's like, I'll never understand what it is to go through those things because I don't have to, but even to hear it sounds so horrible, So, and that's why I appreciate, rather you say you don't, this is the white people, if you're listening, even the Black people, they say they don't see color. That's why I say it's BS. Okay, you might not see it, whatever. But the experiences are completely different. Right. The lives are different. That's what we got, a list of white privileges. Mm-hmm. So even if you don't understand, you're probably not going to understand because you don't have to live with these things. But damn it, just acknowledge it. I think we can make some strides if we do that.
Absolutely.
So and again, I know we're fighting this fight on different levels. We got the smaller levels, our friends, our groups, our peer groups, things like that, our co-workers. Mm-hmm. We got the bigger levels, the government stuff, the policy stuff, the generational wealth and all that stuff, that is the oppressive stuff, Mm-hmm. So wherever that level is, we have to continue these conversations. We have to continue fighting. We have to continue to expose these things, these Karens out here. That's why these things are so important, that we all continue to do this stuff. We have to continue pushing this forward. So if you listen to this and if you don't like this conversation, you're probably not going to like this podcasting. We've been doing this 3 years and none of that has changed either.
Not only that, you're probably a part of the problem. You're probably a part of the problem.
Exactly. And if that's the case, I don't have a problem losing you.
No, I'm not.
It's not the pod for you.
Maybe, or maybe this is the exact pod for you because you need to hear this.
But if you're gonna be closed-minded about it, it's not.
Yeah.
Like if you're looking for safe, we're not gonna be safe.
Absolutely
We
not.
never have been safe. It's not. Nah. So yeah, on that note, we keep pushing it forward. So one, do we have any Bobs and Karens? Did we even look for that this week? You know, I mean, they're all out there. But you know
what the sad thing is? You don't have to look.
You don't have to look. You know, let's talk about the first one that just happened. John Gruden got fired. There's not a Bob and Karen in that. So for those who don't know, John Gruden is a NFL. He was an NFL football coach. He was coach of the Raiders. So this how crazy it goes. Oh, the last week they had found some old emails of his, and he was saying some real nasty racist stuff. Said some racist stuff about the head of the Players Association, who was a black dude, DeMaurice Smith. There's some real racial stuff in the emails. So that was last week. Then yesterday, they said, "Oh, we got some more emails. There's some more nasty, racist, nasty, crazy stuff." So what they do? They fired his ass a little while ago. Those emails were like 5, 6, 7 years ago. He wasn't even a coach then.
And I shouldn't say that.
What?
I was gonna say he was coach of the Raiders when they were in Oakland.
Yeah, he's a long time. He was on TV, I think, working Monday Night Football when the emails and stuff were sent. But think about it. He sent the emails to other people. Other people received those emails. Conversations. It's not like he was the only one.
Right.
So you notice how they think. It's a whole circle of that. The stuff that's frustrating, like
it was going to come back to him.
But that goes back to the privilege. They don't care. He probably thought he was in the coast. This is 6, 7 years ago. That goes to show me this is how y'all talk. These are conversations y'all have. That probably wasn't nothing for y'all. You know, everybody knows you don't you don't put that stuff on email and text. If you don't do that, everybody knows.
Yeah.
Or at least if you're smart. Black people know better. Hey, dog. Hey, we'll call you. We'll call you to tell you to come over to tell you some gossip.
Right.
Hey, I can't. Oh, wait till you get here. I can't even. We won't even do it over the phone.
Yeah. Because Fez is watching.
Always. Right. But that's white privilege. You don't have to worry about Fez watching you. So I want to know. Somebody snitched though. Somebody had to snitch. So yeah. So I think about situations like that. Think about in a league. I don't know the exact percentage of players that are black in the NFL.
I'm gonna say more than 50%.
Yeah. And these are the dudes that are leading them. Nasty racist.
My mom started because she'll talk about RG3 and how he was treated.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of that stuff. Even the disparities in punishments and stuff like that. Yeah, it is. As I'm watching the Ravens football game, and I can just tell you, you know, it's how they treat Lamar Jackson.
True. Oh, Lamar Jackson just gave me my first win.
Did you get it?
I did.
They about to come back though. But it is frustrating, even how you hear them talk about Lamar Jackson as a quarterback. Right. They'll never give him the same due as they give a white quarterback.
Right. Nope. Don't talk that way about Drew Brees.
But they don't do that to any other black quarterback.
They won't. Man can win MVP. They don't care. He's still like a second tier, like almost like it was a fluke.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah. This is why. Again, I'm glad we had this conversation. I'm glad we continue to have this conversation. Right. Do we have any Bobs and Karens? Any that? Did you look up any, David?
I do.
All right. So what we got?
So there was a Bob that confronted some maintenance workers that were working on somebody's house, like getting rid of trees, and I guess the residents in front of the neighboring houses had to keep their windows closed so that no extra stuff got in their houses,
like debris. Yeah,
it's a
thing.
There was a dude that was mad about it. he confronted them with a. He was the sad thing is that he was the one with the camera, and he was like, "Hey, I don't like that. We have to. I don't like that. We have to keep our windows closed while you guys are working."
I mean,
And hold on. And when Bob tried to press the dudes, he started to like once the workers started to actually like talk back and try to explain to him the reason they were there. And then once Bob was getting real disrespectful, dude had to start checking him and be like, yo, you gotta go, because if not, we gotta like I'm gonna have to pretty much I'm gonna have to teach you.
But I think about that. Your neighbor hired them. That's not their fault.
Right.
Also, you can leave your windows open. It's a choice.
All right.
Go ahead and leave your windows open and have the whole neighborhood falling, like the debris fall in your house.
All right.
Like, that's their privilege. Shut up. Like, I know in the neighborhood that happens, you know. People work on trees around here. They work on street asphalt. You get all types of stuff.
Right.
So out of courtesy, your own courtesy and like your own preservation of your house, it's probably best interest that you go ahead and just do that. Right. It happens a lot.
Shut
it's
up
part
about
of
it.
Part of homeownership. Yeah. So if not, leave your windows open, shut up, and let all the debris flow in your house, and you clean it up in your house.
Right.
Like, shut up, Bob. What else?
Okay, principal of Oak Ridge High School. You don't know where it is, but you probably know the school. Principal calls Black students criminals when they, I guess they had like a 90s theme type thing.
Oh,
or
Lord.
maybe they were.
That was a homecoming thing this year.
Yeah.
Okay, it was
That
90s.
was the theme. And principal was calling all the Black students criminals.
That's how they really think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trust me. Like, the amount of judgment that happens in the schools and the staff and the teachers.
Yeah.
The labeling, that's where it starts.
Yeah.
That's where it starts. I've seen people purposely go out of their way to be evil and vindictive and petty to kids. To kids at school. You're supposed to be the leaders. You're supposed to be the teachers. They be the pettiest ones.
Absolutely.
Pettiest ones.
I've seen it.
Get back at kids and stuff like, you are adult. It's nasty. It's nasty out here. Nasty.
Yes.
Yep. And yeah, that's how they be really feeling. Yeah.
Yeah. And then let's talk about Bob the commentator talking about one of the Black players at the during the Giants of White Sox game, talking about having a Black teammate, and he was like, "Oh yeah, we have one of those too." He was talking about back in his day. The way he was talking about it was real nasty. So
they nasty. Yep. No, not surprised. No surprises. That's what we deal with, y'all. It's crazy. It's crazy. Crazy.
it is.
All right. So
But
keep
also,
having.
I feel like you want. Actually, I can't say that. So.
All right.
Because we don't promote violence on the Community Coalition Show.
No.
We
I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to do that. Because I want everybody to get home.
Right.
I want everybody to get home. That's the whole goal. You know, the goal is to get home. We have things to do. We got families, we got lives, we got people counting on us, depending on us.
Absolutely.
Don't fall into that trap. Like I said, Bob approaching workers. They could have bopped him upside his head. But where would that lead them? You know, unfortunately, that's how it goes. So whatever happens, y'all, just be safe. Be safe. Okay.
Not only be safe, be smart.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever that looks like. So I ain't gonna belabor this too long. We out. We getting up out of here. Y'all know what it is. Community Coalition Show. David
Don't
2K.
forget, we are sponsored by the Black Squirrel Media Network. If if you hate racism, or you know what?
Yeah,
Yeah.
racism.
If you hate racism, come to Black Squirrel.
Yeah. Why not? Why not? We roll with it.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Roll.
do it like that.
Yep. Yendi, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You gonna be on next week? We gonna do this? We gonna make this a regular thing?
Sure.
I don't know. Do you believe her? You believe her, David?
A little bit.
We don't condone violence, but I will tell you.
like
Oh.
a very smart philosopher once said, I ain't a killer. But don't push me.
Yeah. So on that note, that's our quote. If y'all don't know who said it, go research it. It's not hard to find. Until next week, y'all. We out. Peace.